What's up, everybody? I hope you are doing well. Welcome to another episode of Convos and Collabs. I am your host, Derek D. Ross. Shout out to the Power Huddle family. As you know, and as you've probably seen in some of our posts, the Power Huddle is powering Convos and Collabs. And so it's like a match made in heaven, right? Where we're able to bring conversations from these dope, creative visionaries and entrepreneurs and really provide tips, resources, and tools, right? And strategies to help you in your business. So there's a lot of things going on with the pandemic. A lot of businesses are pivoting and shifting. And so we're talking with people real time to understand, even what they're going through from a personal perspective and how they've navigated the pandemic, and hopefully their tips, their journeys, things that they've implemented, ideas that they've created will inspire you, will help you, will empower you as we continue to move through this unprecedented time that we're in, knowing that what we're in now and the future that's to come, it's all going to work together. But we definitely still have to be intentional. We definitely still have to put in the work, and we definitely still have to stay connected, network, and support one another during this process. So, with that said, welcome to Convos and Collabs. Again, I'm your host, Derek D. Ross. Welcome, Power Huddle family. Welcome everybody else who maybe not be a part of the Power Huddle. I'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end. But I want to welcome my guest. I'm glad to be able to call her a friend, Whitney McGee. She is the founder and creative director of Proverbs Culture. What's up, Whitney?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I cannot complain, people. I cannot complain. Well, first, thank you. Thank you for investing your time and just coming on and just having this conversation and sharing your brilliance and your creative genius, which I always say that about you because I love your designs. I love your creative ideas and the thoughts and the things that I've seen blossom over time. And so I'm happy to share that with everyone who's tuning in. So shout out to everyone who is tuning in, who's watching us live. Let us know where you're from. Shout in your city, shout in your state. I'm going to do that right now. And then also I want to do real quick before we get started, I want to ask everybody to share this with a friend, right? We're going to have a great conversation. What's up, Karen? She said, let's go. Shout out to Karen. She's an executive team member of the Power Huddle as well. And we're going to get you on here too, Karen. I'm putting that out there so everybody can hear. We're going to get you on here too. But right now, I want to encourage everybody to take this opportunity to share. We're going to have a great conversation tonight, and we want to empower and inspire as many people as possible. So if you are on our main page, take this opportunity to share it. Tag someone in the comments. Karen she's in Philly. That's where she's from. So take this
Really?
time out to share, and I'm going to do the same thing because sharing what is caring. So as we're doing this, grab your pen and your paper and get ready because we're gonna definitely drop some gems, get you some water, get you a little something to sip on. I'm about to sip real quick because I know I'm talking. I know I'm talking. So I want to make sure that you all can hear as well and you can see as well. So I hope you're all good. Shout out to Cameron Washington, the founder of the Power Huddle, and all the great work that he's doing. What's up, Cam? Also, if you're watching this as a replay, hashtag replay. Again, this is family time, so we're just in here connecting as family. We're going to have a good old time. We're going to talk. We're going to share. And we're going to inspire people. And the goal I always say is to leave people better than how you met them. So we hope to leave you better than how we met you tonight, more inspired, more empowered. And so I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Awesome. So one of the things that I love to do when I first start a combos and collabs is really I start with story time because I love to share how the story behind how people connect and how people meet, and I think is truly a testament to a lot of people's experiences, and then how you've seen relationships blossom and grow over time. What's up, Carla? What's up, Carla? Welcome. And so Whitney, we met 2019.
Yes. I think it was in May, like Memorial Week, Labor Day,
Yeah,
whatever that is.
Memorial Weekend. And it seems so long ago. But what's up, Tierra? What's up, Tierra? It seems so long ago, but we met in Atlanta
Mhm.
at the BYOB conference, the Build Your Own Brand retreat, and I was speaking there, and you were vending,
Mhm.
Shout out to Proverbs Culture, and we'll talk a little bit about that. That's her brand and her baby and what she's developed and created, and it's so dope. But we met there, and we had a mutual friend that introduced us. So shout out to Derek Phillips. I met Derek through a Facebook Live. Actually, I was on a friend's Facebook Live and just supporting, adding value, and Derek saw one of my comments about branding. He lived here in Raleigh, where I'm in Durham. He's in Raleigh, and we connected. I ended up being his business coach for a bit, and then we just became friends. And then you and Derek are friends, and
Yeah.
so I invited Derek down to BYOB to the retreat. I think I had some discount tickets or something of that nature. Said, "Yo, come down, check it out." And I think he came, and then he was like, "Whitney, you coming too?" How did y'all end up? How did you end up coming? Was it by that, or you just saw the opportunity to vend as well?
You know what? I don't really recall. I just remember us talking about it. I don't know if I saw it on social media
Uh-huh.
and maybe saw that he liked it or he mentioned it to me. I don't really know, but at some point in time, we both talked about it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going. I have a friend that's speaking." I said, "Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just pay and then." And he's like, "Yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really big, big event or whatever." So,
Awesome, awesome. So I get there and I connect with Derek and I go downstairs and I see this booth now. Now I see this booth and Whitney's in the middle and she's doing her thing, y'all. Like she has a crowd of people there, and I go and like when I say her designs, like her concept, her shirts, I put her website in the copy in the intro of the live, so you can check it out after, and we'll also put it in the comments, proverbsculture.com. But when I say she had dope designs, dope shirts, and I love the theme behind it. And I was like, yo, like this is like who is this? Like who is she and where has she been hiding? And so I always have a thing for, unique designs and graphics and things that make you stand out. And her designs by far, hands down were did that for me. And so we connected and we started talking, and we took a picture. I think I posted it for your birthday. We took a picture
yeah.
at her booth, and just very colorful, very vibrant. Love her energy, and we just, we stayed connected there since then. And we've done a few things together. We'll talk a little bit about your rebranding, but just want to kind of set the tone for everyone who's watching. You come on, stand out. Kara said, "Come on, stand out." But yes, and that's one of the powerful things about branding. There was a lot of booths there, but there was something about Whitney's booth and the Proverbs booth that just like invited you in. Like you had carpet, like you had like everything. You had like the backdrop, the shirts. Like it just made the shopping experience so much more enjoyable and interactive. And I think that was one of the things that really stands out. So to people who are listening, when you're thinking about branding and connecting with people in person, it's important that you make people feel invited, especially when they're connecting with you for the first time. It's one thing
Right.
to be online, but it's another thing when you get in person and you're meeting the brand for the first time face to face. And just that experience, I just always remember. So shout out to you for that.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me because that presentation it means a lot to me. So I know like when you're shopping or when you're walking around, like the first thing that you see that catches your eye is the first thing you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted my booth or my presentation, my shirt, anything that I do to be a what do you call it? Stop people in their walk
Yeah.
and actually take time to see what it is.
Yeah, well, you definitely did that. So shout out to you for that. And so tell us a little bit about the brand, right? So the brand now is Proverbs Culture, but it wasn't always Proverbs Culture. So tell us like how you started and what it was before, and what was the idea for you that made it to come to life? Like what made you start it?
So I started in 2012. Well, I actually got my LLC in 2012, but this brand, I would like to say, was in the works, years ago. I just didn't know what it looked like or what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I love t-shirts. I love doing graphics. I love, drawing on t-shirts. And like, how can I make this profitable for me
Mm-hmm.
to where it makes sense? And growing up, you always see those like Christian or the faith t-shirt. It has like a scripture. It has a
Mm-hmm.
dove and like a sun rays. I thought those t-shirts were so whack, and like especially the ones that had like the Tommy Hilfiger sign that said like "Tell Jesus He'll figure it out." Like
Yeah.
I hate those shirts. So I'm like, I know that I could do something, spreading the word and behind something I believe and do it in a much more fashionable way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was definitely the inspiration behind starting Proverbs Clothing is what it was when it initially started.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. And so you saw something you didn't like, this there has to be a better way. And so if you're listening as entrepreneurs and you see a problem or you see something that you're like, it could be done better, like put a number one in the comments. Like I think for a lot of us, our businesses were birthed out of solutions that we saw that could be better, right? We saw that there was something better out there that basically, even being a part of our community, right? Whether we did it for our community, the Black community and the communities we're part of, or our generations, or whatever it is, it's almost like we see something and we're like, it could be done better than that. Like,
Right.
I know I can do it better than that. Like, if this is all that's out there, and so definitely if you've been there, if that was a part of the reason why you started your business, definitely just drop a one in the comments, so we know that we're not alone, because that's definitely one of the reasons why I started my agency, was because I worked for a larger agency, and there's just so many different things that I saw that I could probably do better, and different ways that I wanted to take the business of PR and marketing and branding and doing it in a more personable way. And so for me, it was definitely, oh, I can do that. And I was inspired to be able to do that. So definitely shout out for taking that step. So you start Proverbs Clothing, right? It's
Mhm.
popping off. You're traveling, and so one thing that we talk about, and that I know we've had our one-on-one conversations about it. You start your business, right? And you're excited. You're an entrepreneur now. You are making something that you love, but then you hit a point where you start to get drained. What was that like for you, and what caused that like drainage? Like I love this, but Jesus, like what is going on?
Well, I guess to simply put it in a simple term, it's just like you kind of feel like you're on a hamster wheel
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and it's like you keep putting in the same hard effort, like to do the same thing over and over and over again. And sometimes it feels like you can't really get a break to where it runs itself. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of like where I was. It's just like running pretty much running myself in the ground. Traveling almost every weekend, setting up the pop-up shops physically. It was a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I know one thing that we talked about was it was one, trusting someone to
Mhm.
manage your brand with the love and the intention that you would do it,
Mhm.
and then one of your main sources of connection, right? You had the online store, but one of the main sources of your brand and your connection with your customers were going to these events where your audience was, right? Whether it was faith based events, whether it was events that targeted young Black entrepreneurs and creatives. You knew where your target audience was, and then what was the best way to engage and really get the from a grassroots perspective, right? Especially when you're starting a t-shirt brand or a clothing brand. I say clothing and lifestyle because that's really what you're doing.
Right.
A lot of times, there's people that are skeptical of the fabric of, is this really as good as it looks online in person? And I think, in the beginning, like hitting the ground like that was like, oh yeah, you're excited, you're charged up. But then over time, like you said, it's just like, okay, like when is the shift and the pivot going to turn? Because I know my stuff is dope. Just like, when is this corner going to turn?
Right. And I didn't expect to. I think I set the goal of okay, I'm gonna do this for a year.
Okay.
Because prior to me hitting the road, the website sales was okay, but I knew that I did events every now and again. But I had to think about it when I was like, you know what? You make more sales and you have more interactions and more sales when you go in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of struck the idea of okay, let's just go on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But I never thought that. I guess our timeline is different than what God's timeline is. So
Yeah.
I set the timeline for like, okay, I'm gonna do this for about a year, and that should be enough time for me to get enough people in these cities to
Mm-hmm.
gravitate towards my website when they can see me. And like I didn't even make it a year. I think it was probably like 9 months in. I'm just like, shit.
Like, Jesus, hold on. Is this what you said, Lord?
Like anytime now. But yeah, I
uh,
enjoyed it. Like I miss it now, but I enjoyed meeting everybody and just
mhm.
kind of like hearing everybody's stories, and it made it worthwhile. But it still didn't make up for how tired I was.
Yeah. Shout out to real quick everybody that's tuning in now. Welcome to the conversation. This is Convos Collabs. I'm your host, Derek D. Ross. I have Whitney McGee here. She is the founder and the founder and the creative director of Proverbs Culture. And we're just talking about her journey as an entrepreneur, what made her start. Shout out to Dr. Holmes, Dr. E in the building, Teresa. Whitney takes pride in everything that she does. Amen, amen, amen. What's up, Mimi? She is in the building. What's up, Lovey? Welcome to the conversation. What's up, Karen? Everybody that's rocking with us. So I'm going to go to the next question because I really, because I want people to kind of understand the entrepreneurial journey. Because a lot of times we see things on social media and we see people living their life and doing all these great things. We see graphics. And I think when we connected, I met you right around the peak of, kind of where you were getting to the point of burning out.
Mhm.
And we were just talking about, different ideas you had, how to find help and support, you were tired. But on the outside looking in, people would, unless they were your family or close friends, people would have never known that about you because you always had a smile. How hard is the entrepreneurship journey for those that are listening and those who just may need someone to say, you know what, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Like, how hard was that? Just, still loving what you do, but still feeling like, you know what, if I get me a job tomorrow, I might just say peace to all this.
Listen, I go through that almost. I'm not gonna say every day, but at least once a week. I said I'm done. Like,
Uh-huh.
but it's like this. I can go get a 9 to 5 and be miserable, or I can, run and operate my own business and not really be miserable, but I'll be tired. And I'd rather have that tiredness or that weariness than be miserable working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be miserable working for myself. Not that I'm miserable, but if I had to compare the two,
Yeah.
I'd rather do it for myself. So I say I quit about once a week. And then I have people in my circle like, yeah, whatever. So what are we going to do next?
Uh-huh.
I'm quitting.
So how important is it to have the right people around you? So it sounds like your circle really helped to keep you grounded and keep you, energized when maybe you didn't have the energy.
Oh man, all the time. That's what they give me tough love. Like I was just talking to somebody before talking to you, and it's like, okay, whatever. Like they kind of like dismiss me. It's like, yeah, you talking crazy again. So like, whatever. Just whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
they start talking about something else. But it's really important to have those people around you to keep you motivated and keep you pushing because whether you know it or not, even though they give me tough love, I also hear how I motivate them or I inspire them to keep going as well. So it's kind of almost like if I give up, then it's kind of going to be reflective. I guess what am I trying to say? It's probably going to kind of like spew down them to give up as well because they kind of look up to me in the journey that I'm on. So it's kind of like a give and take type relationship that we both have. Like we all got to keep going.
That's good. That's good. Like Karen just said, the right circle is everything. Amen to that. I can remember times just the only reason that I'm where I am now is because of the motivation or the inspiration from the people that were in my circle, whether because I knew their story and they pushed through, or because hey, I just they just were a word that I needed when I didn't know I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes, so shout out to all of our circles. Shout out to everybody who has those people in your circles. Hashtag, this is why we have the Power Huddle, right? So hashtag huddle up in the comments. So real quick, so you just recently went through a rebranding. So for those of you that are tuning in, it used to be Proverbs Clothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you went through a rebrand, and I'll let you share with everybody what the new name is and just the story behind the rebranding. So when did you decide to shift the name and just the overall feel and the impact and the mission about what you want to do with the way the rebranding is heading?
So it started in 2018,
Okay.
actually. I was looking into trademarking a t-shirt design of mine. And because I was going to turn into like an event and do all these things. And then I just did my own research on it. And, this particular t-shirt was trademarked in every kind of way whatsoever. So and I also talked to my lawyer. And she was like, yeah, I'm just going to not even do a search. And I'm going to show you just off a simple search that this name is definitely going to be taken. So I was like, well, shoot, I already paid her for like a discovery call or whatever. So I was like, let me just go ahead and use that money towards actually get my actual name trademarked.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sent her that, and she was like, off that, the clothing part is too generic. You're gonna have to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little backstory, Proverbs is definitely deeper than t-shirts, which
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't know. So with me changing the name, that kind of opens the door to more than just
Mm-hmm.
t-shirts. So came up with a name, going through the process of trademarking it. I think last year, 2019, like the summertime, or maybe even January, um, I got the clearance to start using my new name.
Mm-hmm.
But with me, I have to do things on this grand scale. Like I can't
Mm-hmm.
just say, "Hey, I changed the name. This is it." You know? So the trademarks thing is just so tedious for me. But anyway, I ended up having to like pushing it back, pushing it back, pushing it back. And I mean, God's timing is everything. Like He just continues to prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that I do so far. So um, I think in January of this year, I was gonna go ahead and try to like do an event and do the brand name reveal and everything, and then COVID happened.
Wow. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that pushed it back
Mm-hmm.
another 5 months, 6 months. Mind you, every time I push this back, that's costing me money.
But right, yeah, because you're not pushing inventory, you're not moving any sales. It's like you have the name, but yeah,
And
go ahead.
in addition to that, it cost me money to extend my trademark application because I have 6 months to show and prove how I've been using my name. So every time that I don't have the evidence to show and prove it, I have to extend it. I extend it like every 6 months. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not extending it anymore. After this extension, no more because I can't continue to waste money.
Yeah.
So I work with these two ladies that a singing group called Brave, and I was like, you know what? I've been wanting a theme song for my brand
Mm-hmm.
for years, and I mentioned to a couple people here and there, but really nothing ever manifested from it. And so for me, it's hard for me to trust people with my brand. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people know that. But once I trust you, like I have no fear or no doubt that whatever you produce for me will be perfect. And so I think within 2 months time, we had a song, the music. We went to the studio. They put me on background vocals. I mean, it's just
I heard your voice in the song.
I'm just like, yeah, this is yeah. So we did the song. And I said, so this is how I'm going to release it. I'm going to do a music video, and that's where I called you. I know you teach Zumba, and I was like, let me head up there, see if you could put like a little choreography to this song. And you were of course game for it, and that's how I decided to release the name via song to show everyone that it's more than a t-shirt. This is like a lifestyle. This is how we choose to live our life.
Mm-hmm.
So the name is Proverbs Culture. So culture encompasses everything, like
Mm-hmm.
one single thing that culture depicts is everything. The way we live, the people we hang with, the things that we choose to do, what we
Mm-hmm.
choose. Um, that's it. And so I just wanted to create. I thought that was just the perfect name.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. Teresa says, "Give it up for Brave Entertainment." Come on, Teresa. Mimi said, "Great interview." Karen, come on, backgrounds. Carla, yes, huddle up. Great story. Yeah, it's definitely a great story, and I love it because if you've ever seen, and for anybody who's watching who's never seen any of um, Whitney's designs, anything Proverbs culture, definitely go to the website because even before, I would say, even before the name change, your designs embodied culture, right? Your designs had, like the Martin like logo letters built in between the designs. And so you were immediately able to connect with, culture, just by seeing it and just by feeling it, whether it was the slogans like the but they I love that one. But you have so many ways of already building it into it where it was just a natural progression where I almost even feel like even in this conversation that it was always Proverbs culture, even though it was clothing, right? Because it just fits so well. And so
Right.
kudos to you for just, not giving up one and then continuing to just trust the process, even when you didn't feel like being trusted, even when you didn't feel like trusting the process, right? You said that plenty of times in just the having to push the trademark back. And so for anybody that's watching and listening, it's not always an easy journey. You're not always going to know the next step to take, but as long as you just stay focused on the goal and trust God, And then just, what's the next best move from here? Like, she didn't have everything planned out to the T. I got the song, like, let me add a dance to it. Let me call up some people that I know. Hey, Derek. And, and then everything just kind of worked out well, and being able to pivot, right, during the pandemic, and not letting COVID determine what you decide to do in your business, what you decide to do with your brand, but finding ways to weave what you already know into how to serve people best, but then also how to keep going in the midst, and how to ask for help. And I think that's one of the biggest things.
Oh man, asking for help is hard.
It really is.
Like you said, it goes back to that trust thing, and
Hmm.
like, can I trust you with my baby? Like, can I
Hmm.
trust you to do right by it? Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to be perfect, but can I trust you to do right by
Hmm. I love that. So before all of this, though, right, when the pandemic was taking place, there was another pivot that you did, and that was creating masks. And we're talking about this now, but the question is, like, what adjustments did you have to make during the pandemic? Was there a major shift in your business operations?
it?
What were some of the things, the creative ways that you had to connect with consumers differently, because of physical distancing? And I know one of the things we talked about was, releasing, the music. The whole new branding was perfect because everybody's eyes are on social, so everyone sees the video, they hear the music, and so you get to announce and share with them the new brand. But leading up to that, what were some of those shifts and pivots that you had to make to lead up to that point?
That shift and pivot was unintentional, it was unplanned. Like, that was nothing but God. I was just gonna make myself some masks, and next thing I know, everybody wants masks. I'm like, well, you know what? I can do it. Like, and I guess just thinking about how COVID affected business, like, it made me change my mindset with business.
Hmm.
What can you what can you do, or how can you fulfill a need that's out there?
Hmm.
So like, maybe everybody don't want t-shirts right now. So how can you pivot to
Hmm.
fulfill the need that people or fulfill something that people are needing? And masks was something that I was capable of making and creating, and there was also fulfilling the need for people. And that's how, I learned that you can stay in business by creating or fulfilling a need that people want
Hmm.
or need.
And I loved how you did it, because you pivoted the business, because you paused on t-shirts, because we even had that conversation where you stopped selling t-shirts for a period. So you had removed all the t-shirt inventory from your website, and you just made a place um for your mask to be displayed. And then, but I love how you did it, though, because so if you didn't buy any masks from Whitney, and from Proverbs Culture, when she was selling masks, are you still selling masks now, or you kind of pivoted away from that?
Kind of slowly pivoting away. I
Okay.
have some on state now, but like not as heavy as it was before.
Right. So when she was doing it heavy in the paint, she would roll out, like, she would get new fabric. So the same kind of culture feel that you saw in her shirts, you also saw in her masks. Like, her masks were different patterns. Like, she was probably one of the first businesses that I saw that really incorporated patterns and designs into the mask that they were creating. And I bought like five myself. But but she was the first one, which really stood out. So every week you would have fabrics, and you would do a call, and you would pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
You would pre-order, people would pre-order, and you would sell out like every week based on the amount of fabric that you had. And it would be different fabric every week.
I
How
had
was
so
that?
much
Like,
fun. It was just fun, just being able to like look for different fabrics, like not even thinking about t-shirts right now, just like
hmm.
I could focus on fabrics and like
Hmm.
really finding things that's not out there. Like, I really like finding being different,
Yeah.
being bold and being different. And so like looking for fabric was really fun, and like it just amazed me because I didn't have the same type of traffic in regards to selling t-shirts
Mm.
at that time. So this was just like God showing me, like, hey, I mean, it's a mess, but this is what I can do for you once you, if you're obedient and you follow my push and my urgency.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
just taking those masks is a blessing in disguise.
I love that. I love that. Welcome, Darian. What's up, Robin? What's up, Brian? What's up, Rob? Come on, backgrounds. Okay, that's Karen. Oh, that's her last comment. Um, but no, and I love it. So for those who are listening, welcome to the conversation. I am with Whitney McGee. She's the founder and creative director of Proverbs Culture, which is a lifestyle and apparel brand company where she does so many different things. And we're going to talk about some of the things that you have on the horizon coming up. But in this part of the story, we're talking about the pivot that she had to make during the pandemic. And one of those pivots was creating masks. And I love how you still incorporated your individual style, your branding within the design of the mask, and not necessarily trying to create something that didn't resonate or connect with who you were and the brand that you had built, right? And so that's one of the things that I always tell people is like, even when the pivot, make sure that you are still in the pivot, right? Don't pivot so much that people don't even recognize the brand that you built. You're only pivoting the business, right? The products maybe that you're offering, but you should still be a part of what you're creating because you are still the brand.
Mm-hmm. Your brand should still be recognizable. Like no matter
Exactly.
what you do. Like if I'm walking out here, it should be, if you see something, you already know that that's Proverbs. Like I got church people, and it's a touchy subject with some, like with the older generation. But when people see certain things, they know, like, yeah, that's Proverbs. I know, or they see something like, they look like something you would do. So that makes me not doing my job well by building my brand, by becoming recognizable with this product.
So what's your creative process like? Because you generate so much creative creations. And I know that's two words in the same, but that's the only way I can really describe it. Because when it comes to designing t-shirts and if anyone has ever been in the design process, whether you work with a designer or you're trying to come up with concepts yourself, it can definitely be a draining experience or a process when you are trying to create from a place of not only trying to create for the customers that you serve, but again, trying to make sure that you are part of the brand in and of itself. So what is your creative process like for those who may be, looking to, inspire themselves to be creative, or when they hit that brick wall? So what's some of the things you do in your creative process?
Well, in no particular order, but just one thing. I'm a sneaker person. If you know me, you know that sneakers is my thing. So the sneakers that I purchase or the sneakers that I'm into, they influence the colorway. Um, it's part two of that is I'm heavily influenced by 80s and 90s culture. So like I'm watching everything from like what you may be looking at on TV, I see something totally different. So I'm not even looking at the content of what the commercial is trying to tell you. I'm actually looking at how they did it, what's in it, what shoe they're wearing, what t-shirt they're wearing. Like I'm looking at all this stuff. And so like when I'm watching Martin or I'm watching The Single, Fresh Prince, like all of these old shows that we grew up on, like I always see something that inspires me. Or I even look at vintage Nike stuff online and like some of those designs will inspire me to do things. And another critical thing is I don't force it. I never force like the creative process because if it's not there, it's not there. And you're only going to end up making yourself frustrated and you just need to rest your mind, go do something else and come back to it.
Nice, nice. Dr. E says, see it from another perspective. Yep, yep. I love that. I love that. Freddie said, your brand should always be recognizable. Great tip. What's up, Marcus? What's up, Melissa? What's up, everybody? What's up, Alicia? No, Aisha. I'm sorry. What's up, Eddie? What's up, Lakeisha? Welcome to the conversation. So I love that. I love that finding the inspiration from other things that you love or other things that you find inspiring or other things that you have a heart for. So like, watching Martin and TV shows, tennis shoes and the colors and the different things that a lot of times people don't pay attention to, because that's actually a great tip. Just finding the inspiration in things around you that you're inspired by or that you love. That's a great tip, and not to force it. I love that. I think sometimes we feel like we have to produce something or that we have to write something today or we have to get something out right now. And we find ourselves forcing things and it doesn't come off authentic. It doesn't come off, as impactful as we would like. And it's usually the things that we write or we create and we're scared to put out that ends up being the thing that everyone loves.
That's always the case.
Always the case. Always the case. And definitely, like even with combos and collabs, for those of you who are, maybe be tuning into this for the first time, this actually came about because I wanted to find a way to connect with a lot of the dope entrepreneurs and friends that I had met over time. And I knew with physical distancing, a lot of those opportunities wouldn't be there anymore to really see them. How, everyone has that tour, right? There's certain conferences that you go to or certain events that you go to that you'll see the people that you always connect with. And I knew that with a lot of things going on, that might not be a possibility. But then also there's so many other entrepreneurs that many of us may not be able to connect to or reach. And so how do you create a platform or an opportunity for people to share those stories, right? To have those conversations, to just inspire. And so for me, it was really just creating a platform and creating just a discussion. Because sometimes with conversations, it's easier for people to share their story, to provide tips, as opposed to, your standard marketing, like, oh, create a video or, write down your thoughts. It's not the same for everybody.
Right.
For some people, a conversation is so much more authentic and it's easier to pour out. And so that was one of the reasons why I created Convos and Collabs. And so it also helped me to stay connected with my people, because I wasn't always the best person in staying connected. I was always super busy or doing things, and I would, I'll text her tomorrow, or I'll call him, on Friday, and then, next Friday and the next tomorrow. And then it just never happens. And so this really forced me to activate an idea. And I think we even talked about it. I had an idea a couple of years ago about creating a podcast and connecting with entrepreneurs. And I had a whole list of people and I never activated it. And then when this hit, I was like, well, I'm not doing anything else. This could be an opportunity. And so everyone that was on that list, I've reached out to and I've had on here. So when I look back, I'm like, okay, God, his timing is never off. It's never off.
I mean, we're in a time right now where, like, if you have a business or a talent or something that you want to offer somebody, the time is now, because nobody has anything else to do but spend money and look on social media. And so, like, if you have a business or something that you want to, a product or service you want to offer somebody, do it now, because you have, this is the first time since I've been alive in 35 years where you have this much, like, you literally have everybody's attention. So whatever it is that you want to pitch or do it now, because who knows when this COVID thing is going to be over with, and then everybody's going to, I can't say we're going to go back to normal, but everybody's attention to what you have now is going to, like, decrease dramatically. Yeah. So what you got to do now, it's a perfect time.
Yes, I feel it. I feel it. So we have a question from Lakeisha. So she said, what's the weirdest inspiration that Whitney has ever used? We got a stumper. Go on. You better go on, Lakeisha, with that stumper.
I'm gonna think on that, but one thing that comes to mind, as far as inspiration, so my parents are old school Baptist people. So, of course, they kind of have a problem with my church fan. By the way, y'all, my church fan has the Last Supper on it, and they all have my t-shirts on.
So and I had that church fan. I wish I had it, because I would surely bring it out. But yeah, the church fan is the Last Supper with everybody, all 12. Including Jesus, has your shirt. And when I said, but that's marketing, that gets people's attention, right? That's right. It has a conversation.
So with my brand, I find humor in stuff like that. Like, I think I grew up with all this stuff, like being Southern Baptist, and it's just like, this stuff is, I mean, it's just funny to me. Like, I believe in it, but it's still a comical side to it. And so with my brand, you'll start to see things that are reflective from how, if you grew up in the South in Baptist, you'll start to see little small things that remind you of how you grew up. And so as far as inspiration goes, I said that to say this. There's one t-shirt design that my parents does not approve. And then my parents doesn't control, like, what I print and what I put out. But I at least like to influence them, or like to get their approval on shirts. But they always call me blessings. Anyway, so there's this meme with the little kid in church saying, "I'm sick of this. I'm tired of this church." So I wanted to do a t-shirt that said, "I'm tired of this church." And every message that I have is tied to a biblical scripture. So anything that I have, I'm always going to try to find a scripture to support that saying. And so, of course, I was going to find one, and I did. And it was basically when Jesus went into the temple and flipped out the table.
I love it. I love it.
So my mom did it, was like, nah, that's not what it meant, or nah, you cannot do that shirt. And so I'm just like, man, it's perfect. Like, and it just goes to show you how people interpret things differently too.
Yeah.
Which, again, with every shirt that I have, there's always a conversation sort of like, if I'm wearing a shirt that says I'm tired of this shirt, but why are you saying that? Well, if you turn to your Bibles and go to this scripture, and it just starts a whole conversation. But if y'all ever see me print that shirt, it means that I was able to convince my mom and daddy that's okay.
Okay, I was about to say, because I ain't seen the shirt yet, but I'm gonna keep my eye out for it. Maybe 2021, because after all this COVID stuff, and and things. You just never know. But I love that though. I love that everything, and you said something that I think that's worth repeating, is that everything that you create is tied to a meaning. It's tied to a purpose, which is related to, scripture, right? And that's a part of the brand that you created, that everything is meaningful, everything is intentional. It's not just happenstance that I created this shirt. There's a meaning, there's a story, even just how you share that, something behind it that creates conversation, right? That gets people's attention. And then I would even offer up that it engages another younger demographic who may not think about the Last Supper and may go and read more into it because your fan sparked their attention, their interest, because you was able to create a dialogue around something that could bring even more people closer to Christ, right?
Right.
Just in your own personal way. So I love that about what you're creating, and you're staying true to that. So kudos to you on that.
This is the whole thing too about changing the name brand is basically trying to show people that my brand is deeper than the t-shirt.
Uh-huh.
So every t-shirt has a meaning, not only connected to the Bible, but also connected to everyday people's lives.
Uh-huh.
So like what I do is I'll interview people connected to that particular t-shirt design. Like there's one that's Deal Heal and Move Forward, and I interviewed someone who signed a fiance committed suicide a month or two before their wedding, and so she just basically tells the story of how she was able to cope, how she used God to help her get through, and how she's doing now. And so I do stuff like that, so in hopes of inspiring people or motivating people or restoring faith into those who have lost it. So that's the bigger picture of what my brand is really about.
I love that. I love that. And and it connects to the heart space, right? Because at that point it really transcends, a certain demographic or a certain, group. Yeah, you're going to have your core demographic and maybe your, the secondary folks that you'll reach out to, but even a passerby coming through can find inspiration in the message in one of your shirts and buy it. And so then it becomes a lot bigger, like you said, than just, t-shirts and just what people see on the surface, or people that just may, like it because it's stylish, it's fashionable. It still has a deeper meaning. And so people become walking billboards for your message and your brand. Which I love, you'll see me in pictures and stuff. I got a picture that I have of one of your shirts that I mean, I have your shirts on a lot when I'm on taking pictures and doing videos because I love them. They're bright, they're colorful, but then it has a powerful message connected to it. And I think, people don't mind wearing that, and that really helps to expand the work that you're doing. So definitely about being intentional there. What's up, Byron? What's up? What's up, Marcus? Karen says the time is definitely now. Lakeisha said, yes, Jesus flipping tables still inspires. What's up, April? What's up, Janelle? Welcome to the conversation. So we're about to wrap up. So I have a couple last minute questions for you. And we talked a little bit about like your guiding North Star is really the inspiration. So you actually just answered that question for me, like what's your guiding North Star and what keeps you focused and what keeps you going. And it's really the bigger impact that you're able to make through connecting your shirts to everyday life as an inspiration for people, no matter what they're going through, and listening to people's stories and finding inspiration and creation out of that. I love like tell people really quick about the I shirt.
I actually have another brand. It's called Tees by Culture. And that's for the anything that's not spiritually related. And so you'll find a little bit of everything over there. So anyway, there's one t-shirt in particular. It's called Don't Touch My Hair. And I wish I had one on hand, but I don't. But if you go to teesbyculture.com, you'll see it on there. I was actually driving to Atlanta. Like when I'm driving, that's my thinking and creative time. So it's like a 4-hour drive to Atlanta. I have created the concept, the t-shirt design, and the video that goes with it while driving to Atlanta. Wow. So now I can't wait to get back.
So you can do it.
Create shirt, and print it and everything. So, but yeah, that's a favorite shirt of a lot of people.
I like that shirt, but it just again goes back to the whole point of you can find inspiration, anywhere. You can use culture, you can use happenings, you can use things that's happening right now to create dialogue, to create a response, in the form of apparel. Yeah, exactly. I love that.
And that's my biggest thing is like I'm trying to create a connection. Like let's use entanglement. there was there, you know, I had a friend of mine who did give me like he's like, got an idea for you here, you know, just use the word entanglement, here's the connecting Bible verse. And I was like, you know what? I would do that, but I feel like we're on the tail end of that being
Of that.
popular. So it's like with stuff like that, you kind of have to jump on it like on the
Yeah.
first second it's out, so before it like wears out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also, like you say, having that instinct, that intuition to know, okay, it's about to phase out. Maybe this is maybe the timing has passed on this particular trend or this particular opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Even being okay with saying no to ideas that could be wildly successful, but just knowing that the timing might not be there or it might be phasing out. And so,
Right.
being able to know and listening to your instincts on that. So that's another lesson for everyone who's listening, like just listening to your gut and your instinct and knowing when, there may be a time when something phases out and you have to move on to the next thing. And, there's nothing lost, but yeah, that's definitely a great lesson. So, what didn't you know about business now that you didn't know before COVID-19 hit?
I wouldn't say so much about didn't know because there's still a lot I don't know, but it's what kind
What
of
have you
slaps
learned?
what have I learned is that you have to create. If you're in business and you don't want your business to fail, you have to provide a product that people need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that I realized, like with the mask, like t-shirts can't help you not get COVID, and who knows if the mask help you not get it either. But that's another subject.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see there's a need, fulfill it. Because right now, the businesses that are still up and rocking are the businesses that are needed.
Mm-hmm.
So find out, what you can offer that's missing, and make it a part of your brand.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. And another thing that I'll add to that is also, asking like you say, paying attention to your customers and what their needs are, asking them questions, polling them, but then also taking a step back because a lot of times we forget that we are also consumers during this time too. So what are some of the things that we need? And a lot of times we are extensions of our customers. And so
Mm-hmm.
what are we in need of? And do I provide that for individuals, right? Do I provide that? And can that be something that I can flip around and then, provide that as a service or a product to someone else, or can I, phone a friend and let them know, hey, this is something that I need. This is what I'm finding. Hey, do you want to partner on something? I can put up some money for it and we can partner together and create something. And so one of the reasons why I call this Convos and Collabs, because there's power in collaborations. And so, one of the things that, if you're just tuning in now, we talked about earlier, Whitney reached out to me to choreograph the dance for her theme song for Proverbs Culture, and then she then turned that around into a dance challenge, and so it creates opportunity. But just reaching out and asking, so you have people in your circle right now, whether it's your immediate circle, whether you're a member of the Power Huddle, you have people in your circle that may have the solution that you need, but the only thing that's blocking is you didn't ask or put it out there. And so
Right.
the one thing that I'll challenge anyone listening is get clear on the ask that you have, right? I think a lot of times people don't get the help that they need because their ask isn't clear or specific enough. So get clear on the ask that you have and then ask the people in your circles. And if they don't know, I'm sure they know someone that knows, because Jana mentioned me to you. So we have a mutual
Yeah.
friend,
Yeah.
Jana, and Jana was moving and she was busy and she said, well, why don't you reach out to Derek? And then he was like, oh, duh. And so, but sometimes, it's the connection and it's the network that you have. So don't be afraid. That's the reason why we have networks.
Yeah.
So if you're not using your network, then why are you building a network?
Right. What's the point?
Drop
And
me.
you usually have all your. Another thing with COVID too is that, I mean, I kind of knew it before, but it kind of really hit during this time.
Mm-hmm.
We have everything we need. Like our resources are literally right there.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have to ask. You have to be clear in your questions and what you need. But like even for the video or for the song, period. Like I work so I do videography and I teach myself, animation, all this stuff on the side. That's another thing that COVID has given me time to do.
Uh-huh.
So I do like marketing and graphic design for Brave, who actually in turn wrote and produced my song. And so so again, resources.
Trade, yeah, like yeah, trade. Like we've even talked about. We're still gonna revisit that. But yeah, being able to trade for services. A lot of times it's not necessarily a monetary exchange, but if you have a talent or a gift, and I have something over here, we can possibly exchange, services, and provide us with whatever that would be equal in services for this and for that, and you find a common ground, create an operating agreement, and keep it moving, right? So there's always creative ways, like you said, to get what you need during a time when resources or finances might be stretched. Well, there's other ways, and again, like Karen put in here, the power of collaboration.
Yeah.
And just asking questions, having conversations, and then moving fear to the side. I mean, fear is always going to be there, but like you said, everything that we need, we have at our disposal. And so it's on us to ask the questions, to put in the work, and to find the solution. And if we don't have it, ask someone. There's so many resources, free resources out there with Google and YouTube University, in the Power Huddle. So go to powerhuddle.com. We have courses on website creation, on videography, on graphic design, on PR. I mean, we have so many different courses and teachings and trainings, and they're all for the Lolo. And there's things everywhere else, but if you look and you ask questions, you'll be able to find what it is that you need. And so I encourage everyone to do that. Ask questions. If you're stuck, we always say, we do a check-in each week in the Power Huddle where we ask people, hey, what are you working on? And how can we support you? Do you have any questions? So, join the private group if you have it, the Power Huddle, and definitely it's a community of entrepreneurs, creatives, and innovators where we are just seeking to really create a community of support, for our entrepreneurs during this time, and even for after this, because there's going to be another pivot and shift once we come out of this and we get back in the streets and we go back to having events. How do we now keep both things operating? Because now we've built this online space, and we're still going to need online. Now, how do we, come back out and then be able to weave the two together? And that's going to be another pivot and shift that people are going to have to get used to operating in the new day of COVID-19. So
It's not going. It's going to be here for a while, or the changes that they have implemented will probably be here for a while.
mhm, exactly. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time, sharing your story, sharing your tips about creativity. If you're tuning in now, make sure you go back and watch the replay from the beginning. Whitney's story is incredible. She dropped some amazing gems. I added a little bit of value, but it was all about Whitney tonight. And so I hope you get something from this conversation, all of those who are listening. Karen said, trade for services. I do this a lot. Yes, yes. What's up, Edgar? Welcome to the conversation. So before we leave, Whitney, real quick, let us know what you're working on now. Like, what's next for Proverbs Culture now that it's live and launched and rolling, and then how can people find you? I put it in the post, but I also want you to share that too. But what's next for you?
So one thing I've learned, like, yeah, I released this song and did all these things. And by the way, Proverbs Culture, please go look at it. It's on all streaming devices, services. I mean, like iTunes, Spotify. It's called Proverbs Culture. Listen to it. Let me know what you think. But when you release something, you think, okay, yeah, now I can breathe. Like in business, there's no breathing. Like you have to keep going to the next best thing. So I do have a couple things that's coming up. I'm actually going to do a podcast and a YouTube channel that's going to expand on people's stories.
Awesome.
Hopefully probably within the next month, I'll reveal like the name and what the details about that as well. And then there's something else that's like, it's always something that I got in my mind that I'm working on. But there's a couple projects that I'm working on, but the next thing is the podcast and YouTube channel.
Awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to be front and center, and to support and share and listen, and all that good stuff. Also, so if people want to shop and buy, some of your Proverbs cultural apparel, where can they go and how can they stay connected with you?
Okay, so proverbsculture.com is my website, and that's where you can find my gear. Also find out details about if I'm having an event, whenever that happens. Um, that's there. But you can also follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook under Proverbs Culture.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Whitney, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for spending time with us this evening. I hope you were able to take away some tips, some tools, strategies, that can help you in your creative process, that can help you, in keeping moving forward in your business, right? Whitney's story is a story like so many others where you have a great idea, you have this drive and this passion, but sometimes you hit detours in the road, but you keep going, you surround yourself with the right people, and you keep pushing forward. So Whitney, thank you for continuing to push forward and being an inspiration for all of us. And so anyone else who is on, again, share this story. You can watch it back. It'll be here, the replay. But next time, not Proverbs Culture, Convos and Collabs
Right.
will be every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Next Wednesday, we have Dr. E. He's going to be on. We're going to be talking about the power of influence. And then the last Wednesday in the month, we'll have Carla, who is a part of the Power Huddle as well. And she's going to be talking about everything virtual assistant wise. So if you're looking for a virtual assistant, if you have questions, that's going to be on August the 26th. So, but I'll have the graphics up. But again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, in between time, peace, love, and all that good stuff. I'm your host, Derek D. Ross. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.